Hello, Richard in Granby, Massachusetts. See More Better here with freeprescriptionlenses.com. And first I want to thank you. I cannot thank you enough for your patience while the Oakley 3218 and the 54 eye size in color 06, the satin pewter Poseidon blue came in. Luxottica, which is Oakley's parent company, has been a little bit slow in getting everything shipped. But I've got it now. I've got your Transitions XTRAactive lenses with the gray flash mirror with the back surface anti-glare ready to go. So again, thank you so much for your patience. Everyone else, I do want to start off by saying I am an authorized Oakley dealer as an independent, small-time independent optician. I'm not allowed to advertise each individual frame with prices on my website. There's only 10 large corporate accounts, so they tell me, that are allowed to sell on their websites, even though there's a ton of people doing it. But I play by the rules. So if anyone out there wants a frame, Oakley frame, just email me the model number, the size, and the color, and I'll email you back and let you know the price and availability of how long it will take. So let me take everything out of the original packaging as Oakley sends it to me. Your Oakley hard shell case. Actually, here's a little pattern for your lenses, which I probably won't need. Let me take a look at it. Of course, you have your Oakley cleaning cloth, which doubles as a carrying bag, but it's also a cleaning cloth. And the star of the show, the main attraction, hey, it comes with two little plastic sleeves on the temples to protect itself from when it's being shipped from overseas. But this is the, where's my flashlight? This is the Oakley 3218 color 06, the Poseidon blue, satin pewter with Poseidon blue, which means it has a little blue Oakley emblem and blue on the inside, and the 54 eye size. I'm going to give you back the little pattern. I do not need it. It actually comes with a little extra string. I'm going to put it inside this little slot on the inside, so you'll get that when I ship it back to you. The first thing I need to do, well, actually, hang on. This is the first thing I need to do, is give you assign you a number for the computer. You are secret agent 1369. So in the future, should you need new lenses for this frame, I pull it up. This is not your permanent record card. That's why there's a paper clip holding this on there. Your permanent one has your mailing address, everything on there. This is just what I need to cut your lenses tonight. I will remove this and attach this to your permanent record card. But let me go ahead and program this shape into the computer. It'll have your last name on there, so when you contact me in the future, I'll know who it is. And I'm going to take this little layout chart and use my pen and put a dot. Actually, let me get my strongest lenses possible to line everything up perfectly. I just like to do this. I'm going to put a dot on each lens, or two dots, one on each side of this lens. And it tells me that it's a straight point from A to B. Now, if you guys missed any of that, let me recap. I'm going to pop out. Well, I guess I can put my other lenses back on now. These are my surgery glasses. These are very strong magnifiers. These are my everyday glasses. I'm going to pop out your original demo lens, if it will come out, without removing the ink on the lens. No, it's good. I got the ink on there. I can set this down now. Let me grab this tool, which has the little blocks. It is a little version of the big blocks that I normally use, and it is attached to here. So I'm going to pull the paper away to make the black side sticky. The reason why I put those two black dots on there, there's a line on here that corresponds to it, and I'm just using my white wall as a background so I can see the black dots better than I can on a black poster from my point of view. Make sure everything's lined up perfectly. Press that on there. Put that in its spot. And we're going to trace the right lens only. It's going to ask me the bridge size, which is 18. I do want to double check. In fact, let me use my brand new PD stick and measure. Yep, 18 millimeters. So I'm going to hit the check mark. And a little stylus is going to pop up and go around and trace the inside, or actually the outside of the right lens. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed in quality. You buy a genuine, authentic Oakley frame and you'll receive one free pair of clear single vision prescription lenses or non-prescription fashion lenses. My receipt has my federal ID tax number, so if you have vision insurance or flex dollars with a health savings account, you will get reimbursed for this purchase. In just a moment, that shape will pull up onto the screen. It's going to ask me for your pupillary distance, which is 67.5. So here's a unique thing. I can only do half millimeter increments, not quarter. So I'm going to do 33.5 and then do another little trick. So the computer starts at 32.5. I'm going to tap this plus button twice. It goes up in half millimeter increments. I want to raise the optical center height up to 19. I'm going to mark that. We're going to go 2.5 millimeters above the geometric center. That blue cross is the geometric center of your frame. I'm going to go 2.5 millimeters up, and your eye is just inset from there. So we'll come down here to my lensometer. I'm going to spin, let's actually make sure everything's on 0. Spin the fine tune knob to 10, which is the axis for your right eye. Yes, put the power drum on -1. And the never-ending inking. Put some more ink in here. And I'm going to put, that center dot's more important. Let me put a little bit extra there. Now you have the same power on both eyes, -1, -50 at 10. So I need to figure out which one is the right lens. It's going to be offset just a little bit. We're on -1. Rotate the lens till the spherical component comes into view. And I want to see one thing. Actually, that's probably the left lens upside down. So I'm going to rotate that. Let me grab this one. Put it back on. That's still on 10. That same power. I'm going to rotate it. Actually, this is going to be the right lens. So I want to use the top quadrant of the lens, of which I'm still upside down. Let me turn it this way. I'm going to get it one of these years. Okay, now I'm going to put the 3 dots on your lenses. That is there. It is just off center. That's why I know which one is which. This is the right lens. Sorry, my watch is blowing up. All these people are contacting me. I had someone who got a pair of glasses from me a couple of years ago. He lost them today. It says, how fast can you get out another pair of Ray-Ban 2132 new Wayfarers? This is the 52. He needs it in the 55 in the black rubber. Let's see. I told him I'll ship it tomorrow. He sent me his information about his new prescription. Got those ordered, having his lenses overnighted. Good teaching moment. Any of the flash mirror lenses take about 2 weeks. Power drum still on -1. We're going to find the power of your left eye. Find the optical center. Make sure that's the top part of the lens. And it is. It's just offset to the left. So when both lenses are the same power, you almost have to look at them to where the optical centers are to know which one is the right and left. This is now dotted up. Let me put an L on this lens. And if you guys missed any of that, again, let me recap. Okay, so where are we at? Oh, so the reason why I put those 3 dots on there, it tells me that it's oriented in there just perfectly. So I actually want to get everything lined up. I'm going to minify everything down. Make sure the lens is large enough, and it is. I'm going to magnify it again. This is a block. I need to attach this to your lens. I have some with 2 stickers already on there, but I'm going to go ahead and attach 2 more stickers to these. The black side is the sticky side. I'm going to line that up, put that on there, do the same thing for this one. Now on the back is a silver button. That is a magnet. It's going to do its job twice. The first time it's going to attach itself to another magnet there in the arm. So I'm going to pull the paper away to make the black side sticky. Line up that magnet. Hold this in place. Those 3 dots. That is your optical center. It's going to sit directly in front of your pupil. Those 2 dots tells me that it's oriented in there just perfectly. I always like to look at the lens. It's going to lay out perfectly. And because your PD is 67.5 and this is set to cut at 67, I'm going to move that over about 1/4 of a millimeter inside that box to give me a total of 67.5 and not 67. I know it's just half a millimeter, but I like to aim for the center of the bullseye. Why hit the bullseye when you can hit the center of the bullseye? Pull the paper away to make the black side sticky. Your pupillary distance had mirrored the right side over to the left, so we're still at 33.5, still the same optical center height, same vertical decentration, same horizontal decentration for those of you keeping score at home, making sure the lens is large enough. That is my thumb, that is my finger, index finger. Set the move over 1/4 of a millimeter from the center of that crosshair and hit that button. The arm's going to come down, place the block onto the left lens. Now this is the edger. This is what's going to do all the work while I run my mouth. It costs $40,000. It weighs 200 pounds. I recommend everyone go out, buy their own, put it on your kitchen counter. Then you can cut your own lenses at home, and you won't need this guy with the 2 thumbs and the bad puns to do it for you. But if you guys do need to do it, want me to do it for you, let me recap. I'll do it for you now. Make sure to put your own posters up. Make sure you make fun of Larry in your videos. So, I shouldn't say this out loud, but if we can get 100 likes on Larry's video, Larry's Ray-Ban 8901, I will give him a second frame. He ordered in the blue. He wants another one in the black. Guys, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't like his video, or else he's going to get a free frame out of it. So, the cutting wheel is here. It's a diamond crusted wheel. It's going to act like a heavy grit sandpaper to grind away your lens material. This wheel in the center is going to smooth everything out after the cutting process. But then there's a blade inside that is going to cut the groove into the lens. I'm going to pull that out. Let's go ahead and get this optical sawdust off of there. That's left over from the safety bevel. Drop that in the trash can. That's a little too much to put on the floor. My wife will be mad at me. So this is the blade that comes out and puts the safety bevel on the front of the lens and the back of the lens. This blade is going to cut the groove around the lens. This is the drill bit for any drill mount frames such as silhouettes. There's some Oakley drill mounts. I'm just cleaning that off while I have the chance. And some Ray-Ban drill mounts. But we're going to back up, come back to the main screen. Nice software, isn't it? So I'm going to wake the computer up. You were job 1369, secret agent 1369, and it's set to cut on a semi-rimless, meaning that there's only half the frame there. I'm not going to polish the edge of the lenses. I am going to put a safety bevel on the front convex surface of the lens, a light one, and then I'm going to put a heavier safety bevel on the rear concave surface of the lens. I'm going to go ahead and press the sticker on there firmly. Put the magnet into the chuck, or by now you guys know I like to call it the Charles because I don't know this machine well enough to call it Chuck. Again, if you guys can think of a funnier joke, write it down on a $100 bill, mail it to me, I'll read it on the air and give you credit for it. You don't even have to include your name. I'll recognize your handwriting. Hit the green arrow. The clamp shut's making just a terrible sound because it's dry. I haven't cut anything in a little bit. There's 2 dirty styluses that are going to trace the right side of the shape of the right lens. Measuring twice, cut once. Measuring the thickness to know exactly where to cut the groove into the lens. And I'm going to hit start. The lens through this dirty door is going to drop down onto the cutting wheel. The flickering light you see in the background is water there to catch the optical sawdust. Polycarbonate lenses cut dry, meaning that no water is sprayed on it, whereas plastic, Trivex, and high index plastic do cut wet, meaning that water sprays onto the lens for the duration of the cutting cycle. Polycarbonate lenses also cut a little bit slower. But now water will spray onto this lens for the last 20 seconds just to wash away any optical debris that you may see beginning to form on the lens. But as I mentioned, your lenses are made out of polycarbonate, which is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. They're virtually unbreakable lenses. That's not a dare. I'm not daring you to see if you can go out and break these lenses. These are also high-impact ballistics grade lenses, the same lens materials that our soldiers wear overseas in combat zones to protect their eyes from shrapnel and flying debris. It also is the same lens material that OSHA requires its factory employees wear as safety glasses in factories. It also has 100% UVA and UVB protection built into the lens. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin there in Granby, Massachusetts. This is permanent and never needs to be reapplied. So again, its own check and balance system is double checking again where to cut the groove into the lens. But again, if there's any rough edges, it's now going to go back onto another smoothing wheel, which is a little bit redundant because it's going to do the same thing after the blade goes around. But it just likes to smooth everything out. So currently the edge of your lens is flat, just like a nickel. If I were to take it out now, it would stand up on the counter on its own. Now it's going to drop down on the sharp blade and go around several times and cut a 0.6 of a millimeter deep groove into the lens and a 0.6 of a millimeter width groove. So just over 0.5 millimeter deep, just over 0.5 millimeter wide. 0.6 of a millimeter for those of you keeping score at home. No, I will not be measuring to verify that. Take my word for it. So this Oakley 3218 is also known as, where's my flashlight? It keeps hiding back there. I got a smaller flashlight, I just can't find it. This is known as the socket 5.5. Most Oakley frames have a 4-digit number and a name. Not all of them, but most do. And again, this is color code 6, satin pewter with the Poseidon blue. It has the blue Oakley emblem on both sides, as well as blue on the inside of the frame. Make sure I get this back out and return this to Richard. Clean up as I go, put a fresh sticker on there so the next time it is ready to go. Drop that back in the slot. So it is done with the cutting blade. It's now back onto the smoothing wheel. You can see the optical sawdust is still around the lens. Two things are going to happen. One, water is going to spray onto it, and then in the safety bevel, cue the water. I love it when that happens. And then if the window were clean, the door, you would see a lever come out. Cue the lever. So again, on the disc on the far right is a very, very fine grit sandpaper. It's going to go around and put a smooth safety bevel on the front convex surface before doing a slightly heavier bevel on the rear concave surface. I could do a heavy one on the front. I don't like doing it. I only like doing a heavy bevel on the back. Should any portion of the lens come in contact with the cheek, I want it to be a little bit smoother. Although the nice thing about metal frames, it has nose pads that create a separation. If this were your face, the metal frames sit farther away from the face than plastic frames. Still put a heavier bevel on the back surface of plastic frames, but I still like to do it on the metal frames as well, or semi-rimless. I'm going to open that door with my mind. I can do other things with my mind. I can melt ice with my mind. You guys, you don't believe me. I'm going to keep telling you until you believe me. I can't. I just got to stare at it for a couple hours, but then I can do it. I'm going to go ahead and flip that over to L, place the lens, the magnet into the Chuck, the Charles, the Chucky baby. Hit the start button, the clamp shuts. Again, the lens is going to be traced by the two white styluses, making sure that, well, that the lens is large enough to fit into the frame. And then again, measuring where to place the bevel, where the center of the lens is. Of course, that's going to do that a few times. I'm going to go ahead and take the block off. Pull the sticker away, use my hand-approved drying method, drop that in there, put that sticker there. Look, all the optical sawdust did not come off. So, I'm going to run my thumbnail around the front and the back surface of the lens. just to get all of it off. Now once all of it is off, I carefully and neatly collect it into one pile on the countertop, and then I wipe it on the floor. And then when no one's looking, I rub it into the carpet. So I've got a toothbrush that has never been in my mouth. Just another body cavity. No, Richard, I'm kidding. Richard, I shouldn't joke. I need to be serious with you. You've had to wait longer than I would have planned for you to wear these things. I've only used it to clean the grease off my lawnmower engine. No, okay. So, where's your frame? Oh, it's down here. So everybody wants to know, how do you attach the lens in a semi-rimless frame? This is how. I just need a little bit of a strap. You have the groove all the way around. You have the string here. This is a 20-pound monofilament. The nice thing is, if you sit or step on your glasses, if you're rough, this is a great style to have. A lot of people would tell you just the opposite. I'm going to tell you differently. Because if you sit or step on this, this is a 20-pound fishing string. It will snap and the frame will go limp, just like a breakaway gold. If you sit or step on a metal or plastic frame and they break, game over. There's nothing you can do. This is a 2-minute repair that nearly every optical shop will do for free. You also have a matching figure 8 liner in the top of the frame. Just the same way there's a groove in your lens, there is a groove, the same thing, cut into the frame itself. If you can imagine a figure 8 liner, 2 strings like this glued together. One's on the inside of the recess and another one is here on the outside. That outside one is going to go inside of your lens. This is the opposite end of the string. You have 2 holes drilled onto each side. The string goes through and then loops back through. That little bit is what's going to be tucked in inside of the lens. Tuck that outside in there. Now the reason this is folded over, I'm going to grab the string. Now I'm going to grab both sides. I always start at the outside edge. This is usually the thicker portion of most higher prescriptions. Richard does not have a strong prescription, but then it also generally tapers downward. So I'm going to go downhill until that pops in there. Place this finger on the string so I can slide that out. Come down here to my lensometer. Turn it back to 10. Put the lens in and I am over that black dot and I am going to read -1. That's because the unit of measurement we use in the optical world is called a diopter, spelled DIOPXTZ omega epsilon. Yeah, see, I was just seeing if y'all were paying attention this time, since someone asked me today on YouTube, does it feel like I'm a broken record explaining the same thing? But you have 4 steps of far-sighted correction. You are nearsighted. With your glasses off, you can see your fingertip, fingerprint. But you need 4 steps of far-sighted correction to see beyond arm's reach. The farther something is away, the blurrier it is. You are nearsighted. Your better vision is up close. So you need 4 steps of correction to see far away. Once everything is the correct size, you need 2 steps of astigmatism correction. Uncorrected astigmatism makes 6s and 8s look alike, or the letters P and F. The way you can tell if you'll ever have astigmatism in your life is if you close your eyes and it's dark, and at some point you're going to have astigmatism. If you're hungry before you eat, you may get astigmatism in your life. If you're sleepy when you wake up, you're going to need glasses at some point in your life. If you don't laugh at these jokes, you need a stern talking to. So, you have a second curve on your eye, which is the -50, -1 this way, 4 steps. Now this is an additional, it says -50, but that means it's an additional 2, so it's 2 steps steeper than the front curve, and it's how we line those 2 curves up to make everything nice and crisp. We're going to turn that fine-tune knob to 10. A straight line is 0 to 90 to 180. We're going to turn that fine-tune knob to 10. Now this is unique. You have the same power on both eyes and almost the same axis. You're only 5 degrees apart. We're going to turn that fine-tune knob to 5. That is actually very rare. Now I started to scribble Richard's bifocal strength on here, but because he is nearsighted, we're only doing distance lenses. He can actually look under. Well, let me check the power of the astigmatism, and we're at -150, exactly halfway between 1 and 2. That's because if someone borrowed $1 and they borrowed another 50 cents, you'd be 150 in the red. That's where we're at, 150 in the red. Now, where was I? Completely forgot. Something about your prescription. Anyway, the frame sells for $173. The Transitions XTRAactive sells for $129.99. The flash mirror coating is $69.99 for a total of $372.98. Although Richard's going to get a surprise because I did not want him to have to wait this long. So, can you guys guess at home what I'm going to do for Richard since he had to wait longer than I would have preferred? So I'm going to pull the sticker away to dry that off. Put the sticker there. Add to the collection. It's growing. If you guys go back to my early videos from about 6 months ago, this thing is tiny. Use my thumbnail to wipe away any of the optical debris. I love it when it comes off in one piece, just like lint out of the lint trap on your dryer. Someone told me that if you ever need kindling, that the lint from the dryer trap is a great way to start a fire. Please do it outside for anyone who's going to start a fire. You cannot do that and then try and sue me saying you heard the idea from me. Here's an idea. You take all the dirt you have, put it on the table, and then wipe it on the floor. That's okay. I give you permission to do that. You cannot sue me for starting fires. One, because I was bit by a radioactive lawyer and now I have the power of attorney. So you can't sue me. All you can do is get glasses from me. That's what my professional license is for. So I'm going to take this lens out, pop that out, line this one up. Look, the ink is cooperating tonight. I was threatening the lensometer last night, and I guess it's finally playing along. Put it in at the outside corner, run the string towards the nose. See, I can move this back and forth now because it is stuck in there. Put the finger on the string and slide that out. Put that back where it belongs. Come down here. Oops, hang on. I don't have that there. Now it's mounted in there perfect. Alright, I feel a little bit of that string that wasn't tucked in properly. So let me take out your unbreakable lens. Tuck it in on top of that string, that little nib. Yes, that's a real word. Go and look it up. Nib. And slide that back out again. Check for the string. Now that's mounted in there perfectly. No little rough edges when you clean the lens. So we're going to turn the fine tune knob back to 5, the axis for the astigmatism correction of the left eye. Put it in above that black dot. I am getting -1, exactly halfway between 0 and 2. You have 2 steps of astigmatism in your left eye. Let's check for that. And we're getting -150, exactly halfway between 1 and 2. So I couldn't have done a better job if I'd cut these lenses myself. I'm going to, so can I get a drum roll please? PD of 67.5, turn the card around. By the way, this is my brand new PD stick. I just got several in the mail from US Optical. Don't tell them I did not order the lenses from them. I ordered from someone else who only does the mirror coatings. Place the PD stick against my thumb on your right lens, and then when we hold it up to the left lens, we're getting 67.5, exactly halfway between 67 and 68. Man, the kit is good. Check the optical center height, the vertical decentration. We're at 19. 19. The reason why I went 2.5 millimeters above the center is that you don't look through the center of the lens. Your eye is generally above that, so I want to put just like this with the crosshairs of a scope. I measured vertically and horizontally for Richard, so that's going to sit directly in front of his pupil. And again, the nice thing about this, since he is nearsighted, there's just enough separation that he can look under the frame or above it if he was wearing this. Let's see if we can make a little face out of this, so that's being the nose. Richard can look under the lens to see up close, or he can look over the lens to see up close. Now the other thing you can do, Richard, is if you ever get a big hug or you sleep and these get pressed in, you can actually pull these nose pads away ever so slightly to create a little bit more separation. That's generally the #1 adjustment I have to do after church on Sundays. People get a big hug, or for elderly grandkids come to visit, they get a big hug, their glasses get smashed in towards their face, this gets pressed inward. So by pulling this outward, it creates a little bit more. I actually want to move this over, get these centered a little bit better. And okay, so I also want to get these in standard alignment. By the way, when you get these in the mail, free shipping anywhere in the U.S. and Granby, Massachusetts, not Granby, Mississippi, Granby, Massachusetts is still in the U.S., so free shipping. When you get these in the mail, there's a small chance that these could fit too loose or too tight. However, there's an 80% chance that one side is going to sit higher than the other. That is because 80% of people have one ear that is higher than the other, and because of that statistic, 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. But I'm going to get these in standard alignment first, also known as a 3-point stance. The 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. Set them on the counter and press down. There is no wobble. And I'm part of that 80%. Normally when I have any frame other than my Oakleys, they will wobble on the counter because I have one ear that is higher than the other. But these are known as pilot temples. If you can imagine a World War II fighter pilot wearing a helmet in the cockpit, they can slide these on and off without having to take their helmet on and off in the cockpit. It has some built-in wrap to it, so these grip very well. Great engineering from Oakley. They make great frames. Flip this over, press down, there is no wobble. Check to make sure it's in standard alignment that way. Close each temple to make sure they overlap perfectly and that neither temple is askew like that. Check the tension on each spring hinge. That is good. If not, I would grab my screwdriver, loosen or tighten whichever side needed it. So I send out a selfie request to have your picture on the website. Richard, I would love to actually have 2 selfies, one indoors with them clear, one outdoors where it's showing the silver mirror. I would love that. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I'm just proud of the work that I do, so I'm going to ask. I also send out cleaning instructions, not only for your frame and lenses, so they will last you for years, but on the premium microfiber cleaning cloth that I provide, your Oakley carrying bag cleaning cloth, and your case. So all 3 of those will last you for years. So this is, just got my finger on there. Of course, I field test every cleaning cloth to make sure that they work. So Richard, when you get this and there's a wrinkle in it, you know that it works. I have field tested every cloth before shipping. So I'm going to close the temples up. I'm going to expose them to a strong burst of UV light. Now, as you can see, it takes about 30 to 45 seconds for transition lenses to darken. It takes a little bit longer when you come back inside, 45 seconds to a minute 15. Richard and everyone else, this is important. Pay attention. All transition lenses will get dark on day 1 and continue to darken every day for the first 2 weeks they're exposed to the sun. After that, they will work for years at maximum performance. The only time the Transition Signature 7 lenses won't work is if you're behind the windshield of a car. Your windshield blocks the sun's ultraviolet rays that would cause your dashboard to crack from sitting in the sun all day or your upholstery to rot. Now the Transitions XTRAactive, like Richard's getting, will get dark 30 to 50% dark behind a windshield. Now if you have a convertible or a motorcycle, they will darken. They're also temperature sensitive, meaning they will darken more. They'll get darker when it's 85 and below than they will when it's 95 and above. But I remind everyone, when it's 100 degrees outside, you're miserable, they're miserable. Nobody works 100% when it's 100 degrees. So that is the silver mirror. You can see the fluorescent light from above in there versus a regular transition lens. I actually think that the silver mirror is really good. This is the second one that I've done. It looks much more realistic than for a sunglass lens, the mirror coatings. So that's it. This is the first time. Now again, it has to be at certain angles for you to see the mirror coating just perfectly. It's not like a true sunglass mirror. This is new technology. While it's clear inside, it almost looks like a silver anti-glare coating, which you do have on the back surface, which you can see in the greenish hue to it, which could very well be Crizal. They just don't say so. But that looks like a Crizal anti-glare on the back surface, and you have the silver mirror on the front surface. So again, this is the first time they've been activated. They're going to keep getting darker and darker. Come on, we talked about that, people. Don't you remember? So if you've liked what you've seen, please subscribe to my channel to see more Oakleys with mirror coatings and other frames, lenses cut as well. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram is freeprescriptionlenses.com. On Twitter is freerxlenses. If you have any questions, you can contact me on the Contact Me button on the website, or you can email me directly at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. Better yet, leave a question or comment in the comments section below so that other people can read from your inquisitive nature and benefit from that. If you just send me an email, no one's going to learn from that. If you leave a comment, other people will learn. So again, Richard in Granby, Massachusetts, thank you for your patience and your purchase of the Oakley 3218 in color 06, the satin pewter with the Poseidon blue, light exterior, stronger interior. Again, this is the socket 5.5, and everyone else has got the chance to see how I bring that loving feeling back to glasses. Thank you.